Well, hello and welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. I am Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith, and we're so happy you could join us today.
Yes, and let's get a check of this morning's weather on Staten Island. Okay, right now,
Yeah,
it's cold.
it is cold. Yeah, there was frost on the windshield when
There's
I
some
came in.
frost this morning. Right now it's 35 degrees, but the good news is there's mostly sunny skies. Now later today you can expect things to warm up just a bit. We're going to a high of 45, and the weather will stay chilly today all across Staten Island, with high temperatures today climbing only into the low 40s, which is, I mean, let's face it, it's typical this time of year,
Yeah,
right? We just got spoiled up until now.
I know.
Expect a high of 43 degrees today in Rosebank and 42 in Bay Terrace. Pleasant Plains only gets to a high of 42 degrees, with winds picking up later this afternoon. We'll let you know if that wind shift could mean if some rain comes in for tomorrow. So you'll want to stay tuned for the next weather update.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opener this morning as far as, like you said, it was awfully cold and, not expecting, haven't seen frost on the windshield and some time, whatever, 8 months or whatever it was the last time we had it. So that took a little extra time to warm up the vehicle, as we
Had
say,
to
right?
use the defroster for once in a while.
Exactly, heated steering wheel.
So we know how the weather is,
Yeah.
but how did the roads look this morning, Don?
Well, it's starting to get kind of slow here into the mid-morning hours across Staten Island. Let's get you over the maps here, and we'll show you what we've got going on. So the eastbound Staten Island Expressway, as you see it here, as you go east of basically the West Shore Expressway, out through east of 440 into Victory Boulevard, kind of the normal slowdowns. And again, some of that is also because of that ongoing construction, replacing the bridge there, getting through Richmond Avenue. So that kind of ties things up. Also, westbound is a little slow. It's kind of that lane shift as you get out towards 440. And then you still have some delays going east here on the expressway into Toad Hill Road, then again down into the Verrazano. But the Brooklyn-bound Verrazano upper level is really jammed, and that's all because the Belt Parkway, we're seeing a ton of traffic as well. Exiting here out by Bay 8th Street, just by the overpass, the pedestrian overpass. Also, your inbound Gowanus is a mess through Industry City, getting across the top of the world all the way up to the Brooklyn Bridge. So that's kind of normal stuff for the midday here. No reports of any kind of accidents or so forth. Bayonne Bridge looks good. Goethals Bridge, things are fine. So is the ride here at the Outer Bridge crossing. So again, not a whole lot of action there. Let's check with the MTA. I don't see anything here across the board as far as the Staten Island Railway. Everything is going to be looking good. Again, expect some delays here through mid-December, through the rest of the month, really. Not just because of that slippery rail condition with the leaves that are coming down, but there's no delays per se for this time of the morning. So that's some good news. So that's always a good way to go. You get across Staten Island, no question about that. Use the Staten Island Railway.
Yes. I mean, it's Monday morning. What can you expect? Just a little bit of traffic, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the tri-state.
That's right. And then sun glare, too, getting across the Verrazano.
Yeah. Well, let's get things going this morning. We've got a lot of news ahead of you. A Stapleton man is facing charges after allegedly assaulting 2 police officers in Brooklyn. The 21-year-old man was arrested by police for the assault, which took place in late November.
And according to the NYPD, he attacked the officers as they approached him for blocking traffic near Flatbush Avenue. The suspect is facing multiple charges, including assault, resisting arrest, obstructing governmental administration, and disorderly conduct. So, not a good scene there.
Not a good scene there. But starting today, we've got something pretty good for you, some good news, a new program. It's offering free blood pressure screenings for Staten Island residents.
The Staten Island CLIP program is offering its first pop-up clinic from 10:30 to 1:30 today at the Central Family Life Center in Stapleton. Health workers will station themselves in several pop-up clinics in places like barbershops over the next 3 years. They're also offering health coaching and a free haircut.
Ooh.
Go for the free haircut, right? I mean, might as well, right? Get your blood pressure checked.
I need to talk to my hairstylist about this. I pay a lot of money a month to go.
Same with me, right?
If I have to give blood and do a good deed to get my hair for free, yes, please.
Just a quick point on that, Nick, is that, blood pressure is very important to keep an eye on, especially if you have a family history of it.
Yeah,
I have family members that have high blood pressure. I have a very good friend who actually almost died of it because he didn't manage it the right way.
Yeah.
So it's very important, if you have that family history and you get those numbers, take your advice of your physician.
Absolutely. Great advice. It's super important.
So if you're traveling for the holidays, some good news if you're flying out of Newark Liberty. The first time in almost 40 years, a new terminal is at Newark Liberty International Airport. The new terminal boasts 1 million square feet of space, high-tech security, 4 lounges, and 33 gates.
So we have a holistic approach throughout the journey from curb to gate. embedded with, how should I say, digital elements, art, food and beverage. That is a combination of local, national, regional. It's been a tremendous effort, and the passenger will most certainly like it.
Yeah, and the new Terminal A opens to passengers this Thursday.
Nice.
Lots of fun.
I'm excited about
Yeah.
that. Now, with holiday shopping in full swing, it can sometimes be tough to manage those extra expenses that come around this time of year. Here now to give us some advice is Zachary Ican, an accountant with Duskowski, Tompkins, Weg, and Carbonella. Hello, Zachary. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're
Good.
doing great. Now, we want to kind of kick this off by asking you a really important question that I think all of us are concerned about. Do you find that clients often have a harder time this holiday season, and any holiday season for that matter, maintaining a solid budget?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest reasons is that clients and everyone fail to prepare a realistic holiday budget. Not just a budget, but something that's more realistic to the income that they have, especially during this time of year when inflation is through the roof.
Yeah.
So you have to start with establishing a realistic holiday budget and make a shopping list at the beginning of the year to help you stay organized and avoid overspending.
You know, people do expect, the gift expenses to kind of pile up during this time of the year. You buy one gift and all of a sudden you see something else, and then
Right.
$5 equals 10, and then 20, and then, they have those little impulse buying things right at the register.
When you buy yourself
You
something.
buy yourself something. That's the biggest thing, right? What are some other areas where there may be overspending
Well,
during this
you
month?
just said it is buying yourself something. Avoid the split second purchasing.
Yeah.
Put something in your cart, wait 24 hours, and if you still want it, then buy it. But
That's good.
Okay.
by waiting, it actually maybe helps you avoid things you may not actually need.
That's actually very good advice.
good. Yeah,
it's like
sure.
it's like the advice of don't go to the supermarket when you're hungry, right? Because
Right.
when
Exactly.
you're hungry,
Exactly.
you'll do that impulse buying. So, we hear everything that's going on in the news, and of course, inflation is top of mind. So, what kind of impact do you suppose inflation will have right now on people's spending during the holidays as we look at this year?
So costs right now are up about 10% compared to last year during holiday spending. Studies believe that consumers will still spend about $1,400 to $1,500 a year on gifts, but that will result in consumers purchasing less gifts, about 2 to 3 less gifts a year. So the best things to do is to shop around for the best price. Stores like Target are offering a price match on products that you've already purchased. And if they lower the price throughout the year up until Christmas Eve, they will match the price and refund you the difference.
I like
Interesting.
that.
Yeah, I like that idea too. So Zachary, it is a stressful time during the holidays. First of all, just dealing with family and trying to see who's going to show up and where, and trying to figure out how to get there, right, with traffic and stuff like that. So what would your advice be to people who are stressed out about money during this time of the year?
Well, the first thing is don't be avoidant with your significant other or with family about the realistic goals that you may not be able to make a certain budget. And don't be afraid to limit your gifts, and don't be afraid to limit the celebrations that you join. You go out, 3-4 times a week for different celebrations. It can be costly with dinner and drinks and gifts too. It's be very expensive. So don't be afraid to say no.
I think that's good advice all around,
Yeah,
really, in
sure.
general, because we get so caught up all year long, right? We always want to please people, but sometimes we forget that it has an effect on our budget and on our
Right.
wallet. So that's great advice. Zachary, thank you so much for that. And I want to know where people can find out more about you and your firm so all our viewers can get a hold of you.
So you can find us at wdcpa.com. We have offices located on Staten Island, Matawan, and Shrewsbury, New Jersey.
Great, Zachary Ican. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks,
No
Zachary.
problem, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, now coming up, why the deadline to apply for middle and high school in New York City was extended.
Plus, we'll meet a Staten Island native who is running the nonprofit Jar for Hope. What's behind his mission?
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our communities safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Almost got caught fist pumping.
Yep.
All right, there's a lot of sunshine outside. Let's get another look at today's weather. So on our weather headlines, it will continue to be sunny and breezy today with highs that will climb into the 40s, but the wind will make it feel like the 30s by later this afternoon. Some rain will move on to Staten Island tomorrow with even gustier winds. And after tomorrow, the wind doesn't quit until Wednesday night. Looks like some wet weather for the next few days.
It's gonna be a little soggy,
yeah, we're going to have to get some umbrellas handy. And that rain will make for some great shopping at the Staten Island Mall. So take advantage of the sunny weather today to go to the outdoor outlets by the ferry. I love those Empire outlets. And then head inside tomorrow when the rain begins. Temperatures will stay in the 40s today, but climb into the 50s tomorrow with that rain. And by the way, countdown moment here. There's only 20 days left.
Can you believe that? Where'd that
Christmas.
go? Right?
I don't know. I'm
Less
so
than 3 weeks now.
confused.
I
How
know.
did this happen? Now, we're going to give you your 3-day weather forecast. Take a look at the screen right now. While the weather is milder tomorrow, the rain should start around lunchtime and will continue through the evening as winds gust to 25 miles per hour during that commute. So we'll let you know when the conditions dry out later this week with our 7-day forecast coming up in our next weather segment.
Yeah, it's interesting. It gets warm like it was on Saturday.
Yeah,
it was probably close to
nice.
55 or so. We
Loved
went to
it.
Pennsylvania with the family to get our Christmas trees. It was
Oh.
raining most of the time.
But it was warm.
And then warm. And then yesterday it was kind of, in the 40s, whatever, like it's going to be today. But then again, we don't get a chance to enjoy being 57, 58 degrees, but we get the rain
I
again.
know
so.
the warm day brings the wet weather,
I
right?
know,
But
yeah.
but that's because when that high pressure system comes in, you get that colder air, but at
Mhm.
least you get the drier conditions. So it's give or take, right?
It is.
So now that we know what the weather is, let's get another update on the roads now with you, Don.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this morning we've seen some frost out there on the windshield. For the most part, it's probably mostly gone, depending, if your car has been sitting out in the sun. But just make sure that is all clear from all of your windows and so forth, that you can go ahead and be able to see. That's an important
That
thing
helps.
to do. Exactly. So speaking of seeing, we do have a little bit of sun glare here on the eastbound side of the Staten Island Expressway, getting out through Toad Hill Road on over towards the Verrazano. Kind of normal stuff there. This eastbound side, we're backed up, almost coming right off the Goethals Bridge, maybe not right off of it, but just at the merge with the West Shore Expressway. And this is all coming through that long-term construction. They're redoing that bridge that goes over Richmond Avenue. So it's kind of a lane shift and you have to go to the left to come back over to the right with the temporary bridge. So that's kind of tying things up. But your Goethals Bridge back to New Jersey, the Turnpike, 19 through Elizabeth Linden, that is clear. West Shore Expressway, getting down to Arden Avenue, all the way down into the Outer Bridge crossing. That's moved as well. Outer Bridge over to Perth Amboy, Route 35, we are looking good. Highland Boulevard is fine as well. Not a whole lot of action there. Just some traffic light delays. And as we get up towards the North Shore, up to the ferry, Staten Island Ferry is looking good. 440 across the Bayonne Bridge. That also is good on Bay 8th Street, heading up into St. George for the ferry is fine. Again, it says Verrazano really just getting hit hard with a lot of traffic as you get off onto the Bell Parkway, and that's going east here at Bay 8th Street. Inbound Gowanus, looks like there may be an accident here. Let's kind of zoom that in out just after Fort Hamilton Parkway as you kind of come around the curve there. And then the inbound Gowanus is still moderately heavy here through Industry City up into the top of the world to the Prospect. Then we get further up into the Brooklyn Bridge. Things are awfully slow. So that's kind of just normal, traffic here for the mid-morning hours in the belt all the way through Brooklyn. Is going to be in good shape. And Staten Island Railway, no delays here so far. So that's good news.
Good news. And,
Yeah.
it's good to have that information because it really helps you a lot for the time you need to give yourself every morning. I always, I'll look at the maps and I'll say, okay, I have to be here at this time, but I don't always allot for the traffic till I listen to what Dawn has to say. So I'm glad we're here for you now.
Yes, exactly.
Now, 3 Staten Island men have been indicted on drug dealing charges after allegedly distributing opioids and other prescription pills in Staten Island and in Manhattan. They have been charged with participating in a scheme to sell prescription drugs on the streets of Staten Island. Prosecutors are accusing them of getting the drugs through prescriptions from Manhattan physician Dr. Noel Smith, who is also facing charges.
Today is the last day, folks, to apply for middle or high school in New York City. The deadline was switched back from last Wednesday after the website crashed from high site traffic the day before.
Families can register by going to myschools.nyc or by going through a school counselor or a family welcome center. The deadline for submitting other materials to the Department of Education is still this Friday.
Very good. All right. So Jar of Hope is a nonprofit that looks to raise money for research into treatment for degenerative Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Here now to tell us more is Jim Raffone, the founder and CEO of Jar of Hope. Jim, good morning.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
So, Jim, your journey with Jar of Hope is very personal and starts with your son. Can you tell us about him and how you came to start the nonprofit?
Sure. Thank you. So back in September of 2013, my son, James Anthony Raffone, who is the inspiration behind Jar of Hope, was diagnosed with a terminal muscle wasting disease known as Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne, unfortunately, is 100% fatal. It does not have a cure. It's been around for about 200 years now, and not one single child has ever survived. But Jar of Hope is here with the help of all its supporters to finally put an end to that and try and save the first child.
Wow. And what you're doing is truly incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because we want to really understand what Jar of Hope is. And I know that you did something just absolutely extraordinary and actually climbed Mount Everest for your son. So tell us a little bit about this extraordinary situation.
Well, it was 9 years ago when this journey started, fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. My goal was to try and get everybody in the health and fitness industry behind this muscle wasting disease to try and fight it and bring an end to it. Unfortunately, a friend of mine had passed away Christmas a year ago, and he was a huge supporter. His name was Richard Delano, and he was a huge supporter of ours. And that left a void, not only in our personal lives, but also in raising funds to try and find a cure for this disease. And I couldn't think of a bigger or better way to fill that void. And within 45 days, Jar of Hope, myself, and 3 other dads, we planned a trip going to Nepal and climbing to Mount Everest Base Camp.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Mount Everest. Wow. I mean, that is literally the pinnacle. That's the top. It doesn't get any higher than that. Wow.
That's it.
So what has the process of growing Jar of Hope into what it is now been like?
It has not been easy. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of obstacles in the way of trying to fund research because there's not many children. There's less than 17,000 children in the U.S. who have this disease. Trying to fund research is tough because children are diagnosed by the age of 4. They lose ambulation by the age of 9. So trying to get children together who are still walking and what parents are willing to put them in a clinical trial is very tough. And then on top of it, if you can put a clinical trial together, they say 86% of all of clinical trials fail within the first year only because they don't have enough funding. So for us, we're about to put a clinical trial together at the University of Florida, the first ever. It's a novel approach to fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy, but we need $1.7 million to do this clinical trial. And that's what brought us to Mount Everest, to climb there. And myself and the other 3 dads, we raised just about $200,000 to do that. Wow. So it was an amazing journey.
That's incredible. I mean, it's so touching too, right? To know that so many people come together to do what they have to help. And I think that's just incredible. And so the money that you're raising from Jar of Hope, so you're using that money obviously to help with the clinical research you said. How else is it used to help?
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, things we don't talk about because in the community, children pass away at a young age, is we've helped families lay their children to rest. We've bought medical equipment for families as well. We've helped purchase wheelchair accessible vans for family, help pay some people's mortgages, whatever we can do to help families. That's our goal, to get through this really humiliating disease. And it's really like torture for families just to watch your child break down and fall apart. I can speak about that firsthand. Though my son James, we call him Jamesy, is doing rather well for a child with Duchenne, it's still heart-wrenching to see your child go from a little boy that runs around to now someone who's basically, wheelchair bound. It's very difficult to process.
Well, God bless you and your family.
Exactly. Jim, just amazing work that Jar of Hope is doing. How can people learn more about the organization, and especially how can they donate? How can they help out?
Please, if anybody can go to jarofhope.org and make a donation, we would really appreciate it. We need a little over $1.5 million to get this clinical trial going, but hopefully soon enough we can do this and help 12 children around the world.
Oh, I hope we can.
Yeah. Hopefully we can provide some hope and help, and certainly, get you to that goal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much, Jim Raffone. And please, send our love and our prayers to your son as well, to Jamesy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Same to you.
Thank you. You too. All right, Nick, coming up, we'll tell you about the return of the Big Apple Circus for its 45th anniversary.
Should be fun. Plus, a look at the $92 million new recreation center coming to the North Shore.
And remember, you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
Nothing mysterious there. These are captions. Open captions are the on-screen display of a movie's dialogue, speakers' names, and sounds. Theaters in New York City are now required to show some of their movies with open captions. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/captions.
This is the place. Hey! Yo! This is my grandson, Mike. It's his 18th birthday.
Man.
Wow! One of the best years of my life.
Well, when I was 18, the ladies used to think I was fine.
Yeah, your grandma, maybe. Oh!
Come on, man.
He's a smart guy, but I thought he could use a little advice today. Start putting away some money.
Call your mother.
And now that you're 18, you need to sign up with the Selective Service System.
Remember Jamie Thomas?
Yeah.
Heard he didn't register and was denied a job with TSA.
There you go.
That's it. Save money, call mom, and register with SSS.
Well, one other thing. Get yourself some better kicks.
Ugliest shoes I've ever seen.
Be the man. Register with the Selective Service System today at sss.gov.
And them socks, my God.
Well, let's get another check on the weather forecast. Even though it's a Monday morning, it's never too early to look ahead to the weekend weather. There are so many things happening across Staten Island this weekend, especially outdoors, and the weather should be great. So that's some great news for you. Sunny and dry conditions are expected both Saturday and Sunday as rain stays just off to our south. Temperatures will be chilly both days this weekend with highs in the mid to upper 40s. But it's December. It's the holidays. Should
That's
be a
actually
little
not
chilly.
bad for December.
I'll
come
take
on.
it.
Rather
Listen,
this than snow.
I lived in Minneapolis for a little while there. It's in
Oh,
the teens right
my
now.
goodness.
I'll take the 40s. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. The rain moves in for tomorrow. You'll have some gusty winds by tomorrow evening. The wet weather sticks around through Wednesday, and then Thursday provides some clearing with continued milder temperatures in the 50s. That colder air moves in for Friday, and dry weather prevails for the weekend. Highs this weekend will be seasonably chilly, as we spoke about, and we'll get another check of your forecast coming up.
Yeah, I think tomorrow and Wednesday is probably going to be kind of almost a repeat of what we had on Saturday. It was a
Exactly.
little windy, then the rain was really coming down, and hey, look, it's good that it's in the 50s and it's not snow.
Yeah, I'll take rain over ice right now. I'll take rain over sleet, snow, hail.
Exactly.
Just have an umbrella, some galoshes,
That's
and we're
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Do people wear galoshes anymore? I don't know.
I'm not sure. That's right.
Sounds like a real circus. Well, here's a little story about the circus. This year marks the 45th anniversary of the Big Apple Circus. And this is some great news. They're celebrating by making their return to Lincoln Center. From now until New Year's Day, they'll be performing their Dream Big show under the Big Top Tent at Lincoln Center. The show features acts like a high wire, daredevil, and a trapeze. The show is running once a day on weekdays and twice a day on weekends.
That's great to see. The Big Apple Circus has always been a staple of, New York City and just in this whole tri-state area, really. And it's been a kind of a destination place to go with the kids, and especially during the holidays, always marveled at the trapeze artists and things like that, how they do that. And it's just really very, very talented group of it is, right? Yeah, absolutely. The Uncle Chase Foundation was able to help Staten Islanders in need this holiday season. The foundation worked with local organizations to bring food and household goods to residents at Mariners Harbor houses. Residents there haven't had cooking gas since it was shut off after a routine inspection back in September, and the necessary repairs began just 2 weeks ago. There was no word on how long the repairs are going to take.
That's something to worry about,
Yeah,
right?
just those small things, you don't even think about, just going to the stove and trying to turn it on. And if there's no gas, then that's a big problem.
Especially this time of year.
Exactly.
Now, the Parks Department has released its first renderings of the $92 million new recreation center coming to the North Shore. The Mary Callie Dalton Recreation Center will be a 45,000 square foot facility that will feature a fitness center, courts for sports like basketball and pickleball, and multi-purpose rooms. The new facility will be built next to the Lions Pool Complex in Tompkinsville. It is expected to open in 2025.
And it's amazing, recreation centers are such a vital part of the community. I mean, it's like a real focal point. And again, you think recreation center, you also think, most of the time you think of like the kids or whatever, like rec basketball, rec baseball, that kind of thing. But there's also, they do a lot of stuff for seniors as well.
They
do. They do holiday luncheons. They do a lot of senior programs, and it's good for the seniors to get together. It gives them a common place where they can come together and chat and talk and, do other crafts and different things like that. So recreation centers are really big for communities. And this is going to be another one that's going to be really great for the North Shore.
It's great. Community camaraderie, if you will, right?
Exactly.
Nice.
Absolutely. All right, Nikki. So this is the first episode of the Staten Island Morning Show. If you haven't really picked up on that right now, which is just part of what you're going to expect to see on the new On Staten Island streaming channel. Here now to tell us more is On Staten Island's co-founder, Dan Hall. Thanks for coming on, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Hey, Don. Hey, Nikki. Thank you, guys. How is everyone?
I'm
so
very good.
We're so excited.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So, Dan, let me ask you first, what gave you the idea to start On Staten Island?
Well, Don, I am a native of Staten Island, and both sides of my family have been here for many, many years, over 100 years, both sides. And I always just felt that Staten Island was lacking good coverage. Most of the other media outlets focused on the rest of the city, and Staten Island kind of always got a little bit of a bad rap. So we thought that we would hopefully try to change that. Staten Island is a beautiful, amazing place, and I think there's so much coverage out there that we could offer people and let everyone love the island as much as I do. So it was just a lack of need of coverage, and we felt like we needed to change that.
And when we talk to you, that contagious excitement and passion for your rich family history there really affects us. It really does. Because
it does, yeah.
It's so obvious how much you love the history of Staten Island as we do. And I love that we get to share that. But it doesn't just come together magically, right? So tell our viewers, how was the process of getting this together?
So my wife and I used to publish a magazine, and then we wind up knowing our partners years back from the magazine. And they're actually doing some amazing work out in New Jersey. And we saw what they were doing, and we kind of interacted with each other a bit. Several meetings later, it's amazing when good people come together, what can be done. And so really, it was just a matter of partnering with the right people, coming together with the right ideas. And boom, here we are on our first episode with you and Don, and it looks amazing. Everything's going great. So
awesome. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's great to be with you. So what should people know about On Staten Island?
Well, we are a new streaming channel. And so you would go to onstatenisland.com, right now to be able to view that. We're going to be releasing more ways to see the channel and get it out there to you. But it's going to be basically a streaming channel focusing like we're doing today, everything important about Staten Island. We are the borough of parks. We offer a lot. So we're going to cover everything from entertainment to cuisine to arts and culture, and develop new content as well. We're obviously starting right now with the Staten Island Morning Show, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. We really plan on putting a lot of good content, quality content, positive about Staten Island for the viewers.
I think that's exciting. I mean, for us, it's exciting, but I know for the viewers, you and I have talked about this, but for those out there who watch, they see a lot of the stories about what's happening in Manhattan, but they don't always see the targeted stories that are happening in Staten Island itself, right? So when we talk about, you're talking a little bit about the content from the entertainment to, you know, different restaurants. Tell us a little bit about specific ideas we can expect as far as content goes from the channel.
Well, it's going to be anything newsworthy. We're not going to focus on anything that negative or things of this sort. We want to really position Staten Island and bring out all the beauty that it offers. And it does offer so much. So it's really going to be just on a day-to-day as we see things coming to us, that we're going to highlight it. Again, we are the borough of parks, so there's a huge amount of parkland here. It's an amazing place to live. It offers so much. There's so much history here. People don't realize we're the first for many, many things. So we're going to kind of dove into a few things. I don't want to let too much out as far as, you know, the new shows coming out. We're going to release those as they come, but you can expect a lot, starting with this morning show, to tune in and you know, get your weather, your traffic, local stuff that people need. And, you know, the island is changing pretty rapidly, like most of the city. So we're going to keep everyone up to date, what's happening, everything Staten Island. Stay tuned. It's going to be great.
Man, I love it. That's right, Dan. You know, you mentioned history, Dan. You know, there's so much of it across Staten Island. You know, even I'm a big history buff, if you want to call it that, and getting back to the Revolutionary War. You know, Staten Island played a key role in a lot of shipping channels and so forth. You know, you got the conference house there on the South Shore, Richmond Town. There's a lot of stuff that people just may not know about. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of folks that are Staten Island lifers, basically, either just never even gotten off the island because you don't need to. I mean, there's so many wonderful things to do on Staten Island.
And if they do, they usually come back again.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's right. No, we have a lot of amazing stuff. And, you know, we kind of got a negative name of the forgotten borough somewhere over the years. So we are here to change that now. We are not the forgotten borough. We are going to be the leading borough.
Ooh,
and,
I like
there you go.
Beyond excited about all of it, you all. And so thank you both. And
Thank you.
super, super excited for everything.
Great. Dan Hall, thanks so much for coming on and joining us here on the beginnings of the Staten Island Morning Show.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Dan.
Don. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you. So I love it. And we appreciate Dan and Courtney, of course, because they're a big part of why we get to be here. So we're very grateful for that.
And like you mentioned before, Nikki, his passion for Staten Island just comes through as soon as you talk to him. You know, I mean, it's a big smile on Danny's face when you talk to anything about Staten Island. You know, I mean, he's kind of like almost the unofficial borough president to a degree, right?
I love that. So you got a new title,
There
Dan.
you go.
How do you like that? All right, coming up, how members of a Staten Island church came together to help families in need this holiday season.
Plus, we're going to final look at your weather and traffic coming up.
Nothing mysterious there. These are captions. Open captions are the on-screen display of a movie's dialogue, speakers' names, and sounds. Theaters in New York City are now required to show some of their movies with open captions. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/captions.
This is the place. Hey, yo, this is my grandson, Mike. It's his 18th birthday.
Man.
Wow, one of the best years of my life.
Well, when I was 18, the ladies used to think I was fine.
Yeah, your grandma, maybe. Oh,
come on, man.
He's a smart guy, but I thought he could use a little advice today. Start putting away some money.
Call your mother.
And now that you're 18, you need to sign up with the Selective Service System.
Remember Jamie Thomas?
Yeah.
Heard he didn't register and was denied a job with TSA.
There you go.
That's it? save money, call mom, and register with SSS.
Well, one other thing. Get yourself some better kicks.
Ugliest shoes I've ever seen.
Be the man. Register with the Selective Service System today at sss.gov.
And them socks, my God.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show. Let's get one last look at the forecast. So the 7-day forecast shows sunny skies today, followed by wet weather tomorrow. Thursday and Friday dries out, but we'll see a cool down that brings temperatures back down to near freezing overnight. So you want to bring in those plants and flowers if you have anything outside. There's a close call for rain and snow on Saturday and Sunday, but for now that system should stay to our south. That would give Staten Island more clouds than sun this weekend, but we should remain dry. Temperatures will stay in the mid-40s this weekend. I'll take it.
Yeah. Did you just say snow?
I saw that, but that's
interesting.
I think it'll stay to the south. It's a very slight chance. But, we have to say it.
Sure.
Just in case.
Well, this morning being, well below freezing across Staten Island. First of all, there was a lot of frost.
Yeah.
Actually, too, if you're like a nature photographer of any type or whatever, you probably had some pretty cool shots with the sun just kind of angling off some of the vegetation and leaves of whatever's left on the trees. And two, that there's any water that was like left on the side streets or whatever. I noticed coming into the studio that it was a little icy. Like, you got to be careful with that.
I'll tell you a quick funny story. I walked outside on my balcony to start my car because it was so cold. I almost wiped out and wasn't here this morning because I already had my heels on, and I went whoop, and I went, okay, that would have been very, very, very bad. So be careful.
Yes, exactly. Just walk into the car.
Now, speaking of the car, getting on those roads, what can we expect on?
Well, Nikki, we're starting to see some more delays now as we get closer to 10 o'clock for the midday hours. And some of this is, for the most part, I don't see any road work set up as of yet, but it's usually not until around 10 o'clock or so. But we'll take a glimpse of what's happening here on the South Shore first. Outer Bridge Crossing, that is going to be looking good. So is the West Shore Expressway, Korean War Veterans Parkway. That's fine. Into Richmond Avenue, Amboy Road, Highland Boulevard, all the way down to Tottenville, down to the Conference House, as you mentioned, Danny, before. Outer Ridge back into Perth Amboy for those looking to maybe do some shopping at the Woodbridge Center Mall, Menlo Park Mall. Things are fine there, even going across the Driscoll Bridge, if you're heading further south into South Amboy. So West Shore Expressway is good until you connect in with the Staten Island Expressway. And again, a lot of this is that new traffic pattern going across Richmond Avenue because we're replacing that bridge. So it's a lane shift, having gone to the left and then coming back over to the right. So just be mindful of that. Now, if you're heading back over to Linden, maybe doing some shopping there at Aviation Plaza or into Elizabeth, through the Bayway Traffic Circle 19, the Turnpike, Goethals Bridge is fine. So is the Bayonne Bridge into Bayonne and 440. That is going to be looking good. North Shore, not seeing any delays here. Along Bay Street, getting up into the St. George Ferry. It's really the toughest part of your ride here is actually getting into Brooklyn across the Verrazano on that upper level, especially for exiting for the Belt Parkway, because that Belt Parkway is still a lot of traffic heading east here out at Bay 8th Street. Inbound Gowanus still pretty heavy here, getting into the merge with the Belt Parkway. And then again, it continues to stack up here into the Prospect, all the way across into the BQE, into the Trench, and into the Brooklyn Bridge. And that's just because of that new construction. It's been out there for a long time. They've taken out one lane, so they only have just 2 lanes there. But the Belt going east through Brooklyn into Flatbush Avenue, all the way out to Kennedy, things are moving along well. And Staten Island Railway, really, they're just saying give you a couple extra minutes here because, you may see that slippery rail condition anytime you get the leaves that come down. Could potentially be that way, but not seeing any delays at this point. Sounds good.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And no traffic on the water.
On the water, ferries, just cruising along nicely. I'm sure it's probably pretty cold out there.
It's probably very cold.
Yeah.
But it's free and there's no traffic. So there's that, right?
True.
Always finding a silver lining.
And you get a gorgeous view too, right?
That's for sure. All right. Now, anyone with a baby can probably relate to the experience of struggling to soothe them. Lauren Picarillo was one of them, and she's trying to solve the problem with her Baby Soothe product. Lauren joins us now. Thanks so much for coming in on the show, Lauren. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're glad to have you today. And I know a lot of moms out there want to hear all about it. How did you come up with the idea for Baby Soothe?
Basically, I became a new mom 12 years ago. And, we're desperate when our babies are crying and you have no sleep, the baby is fussing, and you're delirious. And I would do anything to calm my baby. So it was sort of like, a mother's intuition. I would just lightly take my fingertips and do like these circles on my son's back and on his belly. And by the way, now he's 12 and has a mustache. So the whole thing, it's crazy how fast time goes. But anyway, I do the circles, and it was like a miracle. I swear, it was like the aha moment that was just miraculous. And I said, boy, this would be so fantastic if I could take this with me, this sort of like little device. If I could simulate a mother's touch throughout the day, it would be wonderful. So that's really how the idea was born.
Wow, very
I
nice.
love
My goodness,
that. I
wow.
love it.
I think it's a Shark Tank idea, maybe, or something. What was the process of bringing that idea like?
The process was definitely a challenging one. It's sort of deceitful because you think when people see you on TV. Oh, I've been on Dr. Oz, Good Morning America. We've been very lucky. We've gotten some great publicity, great PR. But it's a roller coaster. I mean, I've enjoyed every second of it, but it's been a long road. It's been a 12-year road. But I did get great news last week that my utility patent will be granted. So that's a huge accomplishment, and I'm very excited about that. So hoping to inspire and empower other female inventors or inventors in general, entrepreneurs through this whole process.
Well, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And, when we think about the fact that you have to get inspired in the first place, right, to create something like this and then bring the process to life, it's really incredible that you're able to make that happen. So now that other people will have a chance to use it, tell us a little bit about how it works.
Yes, I would love to. So it's very unique. I hate calling it a massager because it's an extra set of hands for a parent. So the yin and yang fingers rotate like a fingertip. And that's really why it took so long to perfect it and refine the product. I worked with an engineer closely to make sure it would, simulate a mother's fingertip massage. And it took a very long time before. I would say it was probably about 4 years until we had an actual prototype that could be shown to a potential licensing company or an investor. It took quite some time.
Wow, but it definitely is a long process to get, anything, with the patent office and so forth. So what has the response been from people who have been using the product?
The response is fantastic. It actually lights a fire under me to keep going and, to work harder. The mothers love it because they feel it is an extra set of hands. I think that through this venture, I've helped women new mothers to say, you know what, it's okay to have an extra set of hands and to get some help as a new parent and new parents in general, not just moms. So it's been great. They love the massage. They love that it's a natural solution. Many new parents struggle with their child, having colic or, a multitude of issues, and they want that natural solution. So, that's been wonderful for them, especially throughout the pandemic when parents were working from home and they needed the baby to stay quiet while they were on their Zoom calls and all that was going on.
Well, and even, you think about even having help from the grandparents or the aunts and uncles. And during that time, nobody could get close to each other. People weren't coming over. You weren't hiring people to help out. So you did need that extra set of hands. And it taught us a lesson that you just never know what can happen. And it's always good to have something literally on hand that can help out, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so where can people find out more information so they can get one of their own?
Absolutely. So right now we are on babybrezza.com. Here's the packaging. babybrezza.com, dillards.com, buybuy-baby.com, and Amazon.
Great.
Nice. Good distribution there with Amazon and Dillard's is a big, department store.
Yeah.
So Lauren, congratulations. Good luck with the product. And thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Well, I feel honored that you had me, and I'm a proud Staten Islander. So I think this is wonderful. I'm very excited to be on here. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Lauren. Thank you so much. That's a great idea,
It
though.
is, right?
And I love that it's on so many different websites. You can order it and get it home, so you can have it starting the new year fresh with something brand new.
Yeah, and it's just folks like that who come up with those small ideas of things that you either you don't think about or you take for granted or whatever, and that can really make a difference in people's lives. And it's kind of like on the back of the cocktail napkin kind of a thing. Everyone says, "I got an idea," whatever, and this and that. So it's great that she followed through and has gotten this far. So congratulations.
I'm always impressed with people who have an idea and just take it to the next level. It's incredible. So congratulations to you, Lauren. A Staten Islander. We love that.
That's right.
We love it. Well, the International Christian Center recently held a Thanksgiving dinner and donation drive for asylum seekers and migrants who have relocated to Staten Island. The gathering welcomed 300 people to the main church on Richmond Avenue.
And the donations helped provide 15 needy families with Thanksgiving meals. They also received donated toys, clothes, and other necessities that were donated by members of the community. Some of the other charity work includes a back-to-school backpack giveaway and a food pantry.
So nice.
Yes, it's great when you can give back, right? Help people in need.
And that's what this season is all about.
That's what it is, yeah.
And that's what our show is about. It's going to be a chance for you to see all the things going on in our community so that you can participate and really be active in doing great things for the people around you.
Right. It's all about knowing your local community, and that's what this program is also about, to let you hear about different stories of your neighbors and things that maybe you're not quite aware of, and places to go, places to eat, places to see, things to do and have fun all across Staten Island.
And there's sure a lot of
There's a
all
ton
of
of stuff.
that,
That's
especially the food part, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching. It's been a wonderful first show.
Yes,
and
it
many
has.
more to go. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.